Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is 4 o'clock. Time to begin our April, May the 5th meeting. At this time, we'll turn it over to Larry and for the budget.
Thank you, Mayor, members of City Council. The budget message and proposed budget have been made available to the board, and unless it's your interest to do so now, I would ask that going through the budget book be deferred and we be allowed to pick up where we left off on April 21st. We stopped at personnel. Is that satisfactory?
Okay.
All right. Please realize the proposed budget is inclusive of those items that we began to present to you on April 21st. However, based on your consensus, staff is prepared to modify the spending plan to match your guidance. The areas that I hope to cover and get consensus from you are up on the screen there. There are individual items in each of the major components of the budget that I hope to get your consensus on, either in the form of retaining them or removing them as items. The staff has compartmentalized items within the budget categories as follows: personnel and benefits, capital vehicle equipment or purchases, capital equipment purchases, facility and community improvements, and then as a sidebar, we've noted items that weren't included in the proposed budget, and then an overview of fees and rates. All right, going to personnel and benefits. If the council has interest for clarification on the assistant city manager and assistant department head structure, I can certainly provide that, or if there's consensus to eliminate the vacant assistant city manager finance position, I would look forward to that as a consensus point.
I move we do away with that.
I second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed?
I'd like clarification on the downtown director and the assistant manager.
Okay,
Because I see you've got Parks and Rec director into 2 positions, but he's also downtown director, so I'd like clarification on that, please.
Thank you. There are, with the elimination of the assistant city manager for finance position, there are at least 2 alternative personnel structures that we can talk about. What I'd like to do is first take you through the following slides to give you background, the city's organization structure, for those that may not be familiar, and then go to Mayor Pro Tem's point, as well as alternatives to structure, and that precisely, that position could remain the same, or it could be restructured. What you're looking at there is the organizational chart that is found in the comprehensive annual financial report. It demonstrates the lines of authority, and following slide, I've broken down, the lines of authority. First, with myself, the upper left box shows lines of authority for myself. It covers 2 assistant city manager positions, one of which was just eliminated: police and fire, economic development, HR, and public information. The shaded area just reinforces that area. The structure that existed when I arrived here had an assistant city manager for finance that covered finance, IT, water resources, energy services, and airport. And just as a note, the airport director was not considered a department head. That slide, the shaded area, reinforces the lines of authority that Brian's position has as assistant city manager for downtown and recreation, and includes engineering, parks and recreation, downtown, and planning. And that just brings it all together. What this slide illustrates is at least one of 2 options, and just to orient you to the color codes, it will help illustrate what all is going on with a proposal. The green is to demonstrate reclassification. Reclassification is a bureaucratic term that basically gets at whether or not a position's responsibilities are being changed, the job description is changing, or the pay grade is changing. The purple I'm using to identify whether a position is being reclassified or eliminated. The orange identifies a new position from the perspective of it's new, that it didn't exist and it wasn't funded. Okay, so going to the left side of the page first, the action that the board just took eliminated the assistant city manager position, that's in purple. Adjoining that is deleting the proposal to delete the assistant finance director position, in its place reclassify a position as finance director, and also reclassify a position as an accounting manager to allow for supervision of the accounting division. And then adding a part-time accounting tech 2. Also, on the right side of the screen, what is proposed is reclassifying and promoting the assistant recreation director, reclassifying the assistant city manager for recreation downtown to assistant manager for downtown with line authority over all the current departments that he has, and retaining, as I said, line authority. In the middle of the page, there's an addition or proposed addition of an assistant fire marshal. And so to accomplish that is sacrificing the assistant city manager for finance and the HVAC tech position.
And of course, on the assistant fire marshal. Now, is this going to put them in line where they can recertify on their certification?
It gets them closer for accreditation. There's still the concern of being one shift being short a staff person, 3 positions. And if you recall, I want to say it was 3 workshops ago, the board supported Chief Ron's application for a staffing grant that would fund those 3 positions if we were awarded it. And so with that in our hip pocket, so to speak, we don't know if we're going to get it awarded. If I funded those positions, then it eliminates the value of the grant, it undercuts our competitiveness, and the grant would need to be, application would need to be withdrawn. All right, so this gives you I've got a slide series that shows in diagram form an illustration of what's happening, and also from a financial standpoint, this illustrates from a dollars and cents perspective. To highlight what's up on the screen is on the left side of the screen. First column showing all positions that are in the mix. And in parentheses, I count 7.5 positions. Second column, current fiscal year, 5 positions. Proposed, or next fiscal year ending with 16, 4.5 positions. If you see a 0 alongside of a position, for example, in the second column, third row, finance director, there's a 0. That would indicate that this year that position is not funded. It is proposed to be funded in fiscal year ending 16 to demonstrate that the position has been reclassified. What position is being reclassified? The assistant finance director. Just below the finance director row is the assistant finance director. I believe that's the 4th row. Currently it's funded, and I'm just showing salaries as a clarification. This is just salaries of $76,000. For fiscal year ending 16, this proposal shows that position would not be funded. What is happening from a process standpoint is a reclassification. The assistant finance director position is being reclassified or is proposed to be refinanced into the finance director's position. And that logic basically flows on down the page. The accounting manager position currently is not funded this fiscal year. It's proposed to be next fiscal year. It's being created through a reclassification process involving the current accounting tech 2 position. Accounting tech 2 position is funded salary-wise at $57,000. Next year it would become a accounting tech part-time position, and funding would be reduced. Recreation director is not funded as a standalone position. It's proposed on this proposal shows that it would be funded, and the assistant recreation director is funded current year, would not be future year. The net change from a salary perspective is a reduction of approximately $96,000. That's for the positions above the red line. The black box down the center of the page illustrates what happens financially with the exchange of the HVAC tech, in other words, not funding that position and adding in the assistant fire marshal position. Assistant fire marshal position from a salary perspective is approximately $78,000. The HVAC tech salary is approximately $72,000. However, if you recall from one of our presentations, we included an offset for somewhere else in the budget for reducing the cost of HVAC services. And so that's approximately $40,000, maybe more, maybe less. If the offset is less than that -30 in purple increases, which the number on the bottom there, the white number, 48, would also increase. What I'm showing is that the net change is a reduction of $48,000 with those changes. So if we set aside the HVAC and assistant fire marshal positions and just look at what's above the red line, the net change is a reduction of $96,000, which primarily is derived from the defunding of the assistant city manager for finance position and several of the other positions, but in its place we're ramping up through promotion, internal promotions, and the addition of a part-time position, some of those elements. Questions on what?
Yes, exactly what are you saying with the reduction? Because I'm not following this. Does that mean that you're saving that amount of money if you don't make the city manager, the assistant city manager's position? That's how much you're going to save?
Yes.
And you're going to make those other changes in regardless. That's how much we're going to save with the changes.
With those changes, yeah, with eliminating the assistant city manager for finance position, eliminating the assistant finance position, and eliminating the assistant recreation director's position.
And that's how much you're going to save?
Not approximately $96,000 in salaries.
Okay. Thanks.
If you add those two positions, it's 48,000 to save.
If you replace, you do an exchange, if you will. Bring in the assistant fire marshal and not fund the HVAC tech position. The reason why I chose to try to show it in that manner is based on what's in the proposed budget. So that's what my baseline is, and so my additions and subtractions are from that. And it does get confusing, and I apologize, and that may have been part of the confusion 2 weeks ago. But that's, using redneck math, my own, that's a very close estimate. There are a multitude of options. It's the same data as here, except it's without all the clutter. Same financial data. Here is I'd like to come back to that slide. Here's an alternate structure. And basically the differences in this alternative versus the one that I just went over is the assistant city manager for downtown and recreation remains as it is today. No changes. There's the addition of reclassifying part-time to full-time assistant city attorney. Since we're doing away with the assistant city manager for finance, there are things that I need to do on the left side of the page, if you will, for management of finance and then management of the accounting section that I referred to. But basically everything else remains the same. Assistant fire marshal addition, not funding the HVAC tech, so forth.
How many firefighters did we ask for in the grant?
3, I believe. My firefighter. 3.
If we get the grant and get those 3 positions and add that assistant fire marshal, then we'll be in compliance.
That's the assessment the fire chief has made.
Go back again to the assistant recreation director. You're talking about just reclassifying her position, because that, when Mike Horton retired, his position was split between the two, and we did away with that position.
Yes, so it would be reclassified.
But it's working just like it is now. So you wouldn't actually save $71,000.
Well, the difference, if you look on the last two rows here, rec director and assistant rec director, the difference is the promotion cost going from roughly in terms of salary, 71 to 84.
Well, they did away with Mike Courtney's position, though. His was recreation director. They took his position and divided the chores between, or the job between Tanya and Eric. So they're both, I guess Eric's the Parks and Maintenance superintendent, and Tanya is the recreation coordinator now, director now, whatever you want to call her. Because she handles one side and they handle the other. So how are you saving $71,000?
I thought she was kind of the assistant to Brian.
That's what I thought.
That's what I,
So I don't see how you're saving $71,000.
but I mean, I don't know, that's what I thought.
Because the position was split. Mike Courtney's duties were split between the two people.
And she was gonna
And
be
so-
the assistant.
Yeah.
That's what
I think what I'm suggesting is that changing job descriptions, changing the functions, it's the savings is not from the promotion of the assistant to the rec director. The savings is eliminate the decision y'all have already made, which is eliminating the assistant city manager for finance. That's a rough, just in salary, $146,000. There are other things that are tied to salary, to payroll, retirement, Social Security. So the number is, larger, but I think most folks relate to salary quicker, and so I'm showing that.
If I can clarify Tanya's position, as Assistant Parks and Rec Director, when Tanya was promoted to that, Mike's duties, basically the only thing Tanya absorbed from Mike's duties was the golf course, managing the golf course. I became Parks and Rec Director. Eric's job kind of remained the same. Now, I work with both of them, and we have to delegate and do what we have to do, but that's how it works.
Yeah, they pretty much eliminated Mike Courtney's position.
Right. We did eliminate Parks and Rec Director. It was absorbed. Downtown and Parks and Rec were made kind of one.
Yeah, that's the reason I questioned though. It's still there, but they could reclassify it. Anyway.
Well, it would probably be fair to say that, add on what Brian was saying, it's recognizing some of the function and responsibility that I think, and confidence that Brian has in Tanya, and recognizing that her in Tanya, elevating her position, and
He's from assistant to director.
yes, in terms of the wiring diagram, essentially remains the same. The proposal is that the position Brian fills continues overseeing those line departments, those departments. Now, with the deletion of the assistant manager, I'll have a conversation of how we might split up the pie a little bit, but from a committee standpoint and so forth. Is there a preference between alternative 1 and 2? The basic difference, there's position difference, and then the bottom line, there's less dollars that come back. This is probably the least change from where we are today, with the exception of adding the assistant fire marshal and adding and reclassifying the assistant city attorney from part-time to full-time. And the 76,000 that I showed, the last red row, is perhaps inflated. I grabbed the total cost. I think it's probably in some of your handout material, of which shows salary and benefits, and so it's not a true apples to apples comparison to the other numbers there. So it's a tad bit inflated. I think the actual salary component of that is plus 16,000, so 16 plus 47 is what, 47,
Go back to.
63.
Do you mind
Please. That's that.
Sorry.
So that one's the one we're gonna save the most money on.
Yeah, put my line. Yeah, well, it's
Hey, what
it's
is
almost,
it?
actually, it's about a,
It's confusing.
it's about this, it's about a wash. The bottom line, net's 49 on this one. The previous one, it's 48.
What do we, the add to police assistant special services, what is that?
Currently, I believe he's helping out in the schools. And, but currently position is temporary, and an individual that retired and came back to us. Is that,
He actually retired from DMV.
okay, DMV.
Right.
And he's been working, helping us out in the school system. It's been a temporary position. It's a strong individual, and Chief Gilliard appealed to me to see if we could find, make it a permanent part-time position. It's been funded out of lapsed salaries for a while. Lapsed salaries meaning positions that aren't filled.
Go to two, you know, all the two. I would make a motion, we go with all of that two.
You make a motion to what now?
To go to all of that two, we gotta make a decision on one.
Any questions? Okay, one. Have a motion. Sure, there'd be some questions, I would think.
Well, if you're asking for comment, first, my gut thinking there is, there's not a lot of difference in the numbers. I'm looking for saving somewhere a lot more than 19,000 in his budget. So, the manager thinks the two positions are necessary, needed, and/or will help him with the staff. I don't see a need in fighting over what essentially is about 69,000, if I'm not mistaken. 79, yeah, less than that, 79, excuse me. You know, I'm looking for money, not peanuts. I don't see any fighting over this issue personally.
Other comments?
Put it back to the slide again, please.
The account manager and the finance director, what is, I know what county manager and all that, but do we have a county manager now?
My understanding is I think the city did, currently no, county manager, no, you don't have one today, but 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, I believe you did.
Is
They
that
basically
like
ran the
kinda-
accounting division.
Is that kind of like an assistant to the finance director or something, or is that just a?
Well, if I created the accounting manager, I would eliminate the assistant finance director. I wouldn't have it. Currently, I think Lisa's wearing maybe 3 hats. The interim finance director, assistant finance director, and she runs the accounting division. Is that fair?
We really appreciate that.
Yeah.
So now
Get a refund.
that kind of sort of worked when Greg was here, and Greg was dual-hatted as assistant city manager for finance. But for what I don't have charts and graphs to show this, but I think he spent, I don't know, a portion of his time in finance and probably more of his time outside of finance.
Well, when you hire a finance director now, in reality, you one down, is that correct? Am I thinking right now? The finance director puts you one down, is that correct?
I think, if I'm following, I think so, yes.
Well, let's say, you don't have any openings except the finance director right now. One down.
No, I don't have a finance
I
director.
know, I was gonna say, we're one down in the finance department.
Well, the action that y'all took eliminated the assistant city manager / finance director. So I don't have that position, in a sense, I don't have that position.
I know,
I would
but
like to.
Reclass the assistant to a.
that's gonna say that's one. But now, when you hire a finance director, now you was talking about the three jobs, I think you said three jobs, you should do whatever. Now, if you hire a finance director and also an account manager, does that put you back in the finance department back where it was? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, yeah, yes.
Yeah.
You change you're changing the titles of
That's
some of it.
basically all it is.
I know, but they haven't had, we don't,
Well, I think if you went to, before Greg arrived, that was the organization. You had a finance director and an accounting manager.
I was gonna say, I don't have a problem with the title, I'm saying we don't have an account manager now.
That
No,
is
it
correct.
exists as the assistant finance director.
Right, the account manager is assistant finance director. Now, okay, now.
Let me ask a question too. On your 216 proposed budget, before added the police assistant special services, you didn't recommend that. Why did you change it?
I'm not following.
You didn't recommend add a police assistant special services on page 8.
I got that one.
Is it because it's a temporary position, it's a really funded
Yeah, it was.
vacant position?
The, yeah, on my page 6, police
Page
administrator.
8. Page 8.
Oh, it's, we didn't see that there was not a dollar effect. There wasn't a dollar effect. It's, you know, the person is already in position. It's a temporary position. We want to, I'm asking to make it a permanent position, a permanent part-time position. So the staff's analysis indicated that it wasn't a budget impact.
I don't move that we accept alternative one.
Mayor, just to note, there was a motion, but there was no second. The only question is do any council members wish to second Councilmember Kazai's motion? If not, it dies for lack of a second, and then Councilmember Anthony's motion is then the next up, which will need a second as well.
Well, it's something I'm missing or not seeing, and I understand now the account manager is the assistant. So that's been, what is the big difference between one and the alternative two?
Essentially, it's the addition of going from part-time to full-time, the assistant city attorney.
Attorney position.
That's the, whoops, I'm going the wrong way, I'm sorry.
You're doing the same thing with.
And there's fewer
assistant, aren't you?
fewer promotions. So there's fewer promotions. Basically, the recreation side of the line diagram, there's fewer changes.
Okay. All right. I have a motion on the floor, your motion was for two or one?
Two.
Well, I have a motion on the floor for two. Do I have a second? Okay, that dies for like a second. Now, I have another motion. I'm sorry?
I made a motion that we accept alternative one.
And I'll second that motion.
I have a motion and a second on alternative one. All in favor?
Aye.
I vote for one. Now, that does the addition there, is what I understand. Yeah, okay.
Okay, how about
Mayor,
on-
that appeared to only be,
I'm coming.
that appeared to only be 3 votes in favor.
Do what, sir?
Well, that will appear to only be 3 votes in favor. I think I counted
Okay.
Councilmember Anthony, Mayor Pro Tem
All
Nash,
opposed?
and Mayor Kilgore.
One.
Three, 3-3, because you have Councilmember Jordan is not here.
Yeah. Only opposed was Lynn.
Well, the question is if the others vote, or if they do not vote, without being properly excused, it would be a yes vote. So I think if the other members have an opinion on the motion, they need to express
We
it.
can do it by show of hands.
All right. All in favor of alternative, well, I done went through two.
Yeah.
Oh, now, we on one.
You're
All
on
in
one.
favor of alternative one, raise your hand. All right. All in favor?
Opposed?
Alternative.
One.
One.
I'm sorry,
All right,
let me go back to it.
I got three, now all opposed. I have two, that's 3-2.
Councilmember Duncan did not raise her hand, so
Did you not just raise your hand?
if,
Lynn, you must raise your right hand too. Okay.
Mayor, a failure to vote would be considered a vote in favor of the motion, unless Councilmember Duncan advises us that her vote is to oppose the motion.
Okay. Councilmember Duncan.
No, I'm not opposing the motion.
So
Sorry.
it passes.
Sorry
four.
for that misinterpretation. I'm not going to oppose the motion.
So that's okay, that's 1, 2, did you say 4?
Yes, sir.
That's what I counted, 4. Okay.
Alternative one. All right, thank you. All right, that makes this somewhat easier. I'll fast forward, if you will, through this. This is basically this restatement of the positions that we just went for, except for the water, except for basically the enterprise fund. I do have a slide for that. Let's see, does that work?
Can I?
Sir.
I know we done voted this down. Let me look at one again. You back up for just 1 minute. I know we voted, but I want to make sure I see what I said. All right, y'all can do the same thing. All right, there's a turn.
That's the
One, you want me to flip to 2?
Okay, I see. Okay,
Let's take
thank you.
what I left out, I should go back to this is an overview of the department personnel requests. That I can also go to from that appears in your handouts. Again, the same coloring scheme. The orange, burnt orange is new positions or additional positions to be funded. The position lower right side, the HVAC tech, that's not based on the action which y'all just took, that would not be funded. We did talk about the program coordinator. It's also being requested. The remainder of positions are in the enterprise funds. I'm recommending the addition of the program coordinator to help what's going on in recreation and some of the downsizing that they went through 3 or 4 years ago.
I personally see the need for a program coordinator.
I agree.
Need for what?
Program coordinator for recreation.
And somebody's going to get out in the community to get people for the programs.
And that person would work in all of our recreation facilities, all recreation facilities.
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. Is there questions or consensus? Questions on any of these positions that perhaps the staff could give you all some additional insights on?
And the program coordinator, again, can I get a definition of that?
They design, why would we design programs?
Well, the
facilities? That maybe that's what the people are using to do is to launch it. We have to talk to the
Basic program coordinator, the history is it previously evolved into the recreation superintendent. I mean, there's a number of position consolidations.
Will I have anybody currently on staff that can do that?
There's no one dedicated to
No.
doing it. There was someone dedicated to doing it about 3 or 4 or 5 years ago.
Can you give a background of the program coordinator definition?
Okay, the program coordinator would be not a new position, but not really, because that's what Tanya was hired as. We
Okay.
had one in the past. They would coordinate and supervise and provide programming support to all of our recreation centers and help plan and administer different special events and programs. So they would work with each center and the communities those centers serve to develop the programming. Currently, that duties were spread so thin, there's no one focused on that right now. And that's part of, I guess, some of the issues we have at some of our rec centers for the programming that's not very well attended or whatever. So that would help. And it gets into, I mean, we could definitely use it. Let's see. It could help with athletic programming, some of the athletic programming we have. Tanya and I are currently kind of considering looking at that position also and trying to maybe develop something that we can get coverage there also. So
That's the one new position requested for this department, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
What would be the salary range?
it's proposed at, what is it?
With salary and
60
benefits,
65?
That's salary and benefits.
69,359 is what we have included.
69,359? Okay,
Yes.
that must be updated.
How about the we may not got there yet, but I was waiting we get to that one. Have that calculated.
I just want to make sure that I'm clear. What happened to our fire marshal's position?
It's like,
It's there, it's just
It's
a
still
little.
there.
Okay, so we still have that.
Yeah,
The
alternate
one
one
is still there.
yeah, it's there.
has that, oops.
Okay,
Alternate one
Yeah.
includes the assistant fire marshal.
okay, just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
Do you need a motion?
Well,
How about how's that technician there, air conditioning? heat technician?
That's been deleted, or that's, it's not shown as deleted here, but,
The only reason I want to add him is if he can show up today and cool this room off. It's hot here.
That's called you dealing with money.
Right.
Yeah.
okay.
This air goes out a lot.
It's on 50.
Was that
Oh,
okay?
yeah.
I turned it down to 50
Thank you.
before we got in here.
And it's
is
still
there,
warm.
is there consensus on the, basically the focus is the program coordinator on the right and
The only thing I don't like about positions like that is that if in fact that dilemma issue is solved, you know, and it stays on permanently, when in fact it might not be needed,
Talk about the HVAC or the program coordinator?
no program coordinator.
Now, will this be someone already in the department with a promotion, or just someone you just hire
It's
outside?
just proposed as an addition. They currently have 10, they want 11.
I think,
It's
my
a
understanding is they would hire
new position, and we'd have to hire.
from outside.
But then Tanya will take over as the director.
What's
Is
that?
that what Tanya would take it? Tanya would not be doing program coordination anymore.
Right, Tanya would be director.
Right, that's what I
mean,
thought.
she would be overseeing this person on a daily basis, working with them,
Yeah.
supervising them. But
Do you feel that's a demonstrated need for the position?
with alternative one, we definitely need this position.
Did you
Tanya
say that
can't
was
do it all. I mean,
Yep.
Did you say that was an
No
alternative
matter how
one?
type A she is.
Yeah, well, there's alternative one.
That is an alternative one, right?
Yep.
Right.
Other questions on this, those positions?
No, let's please move on. God.
That's it, that's it.
We don't need no more.
Is there a consensus then?
Yes,
Everybody's consensus on the program coordinator?
Yes,
Okay.
And also the enterprise fund positions on the lower left.
they don't affect general funds.
If there are questions, I will exit out of this right quick. If you want, we can come back to it. And this up. Okay, those are the positions in the lower left. The colorful chart. I'd like to spend a little bit of time on this section. Basically, this summarizes some things happening in the benefits world. First is the workers' compensation fund funding. We're proposing a contribution of $350,000. And it's spread across a number of our funds, all of our funds, and it's to reinstate reaching a target fund balance of $750,000. Which is needed to offset a higher claim value, and we expect some payment of some sizable claims coming up. So that's the rationale for that. The other two items involve pay plan and increasing the competitiveness of our pay structure. I proposed partial implementation of the pay plan study, and that number is representative of 2% of overall payroll, with the general fund making up approximately $420,000. And I don't know what the number will be that comes out of the pay plan study. Experience is that it's usually a big number, and it's usually a lot to try to bite off in 1 year. So I'm calling that phase 1 of possibly 2. It may be phase 1 of 3. If you were so inclined to allow this to be funded. It's a placeholder. In other words, the pay plan study would, I think staff is leaning forward in Foxhole, so to speak, to get it going if the board supports the study to commence. But it's going to take 3 to 6 months to be done. And the results we're going to talk about at staff level, and then also presented to City Council, along with some implementation strategies, whether it's to try to do it all in 1 year or break it off into smaller parts. And so what I'm getting to is, if the implementation is delayed substantially into the latter part of the year, that $600,000 may not actually be spent, and it would go to fund balance. So it can go a couple different ways. The other item, the next item here, is reinstatement of our pay, what I would call pay for performance or merit program. And I've said that the average would be 1.5%. So if the pool folks, most folks would see about a 1.5%
If they go.
change if their evaluation justified it. And then the last item just underscores the board's action, I believe it was 2 meetings ago, to approve a cost of living adjustment of 3% for folks below the department head level, and that's to take effect July 1st, or implemented on or about July 1st. The general fund share of that is $536,000.
Well, I'm gonna bring it up again. I feel like we need to give across the board 3% cost of living to everybody. It's not fair to single out the department heads who have worked really hard, because they've had our back plenty of times. And I just don't think it's fair, and we're talking $60,000. So with that being said, I'm gonna make the motion to give across the board 3% cost of living.
Is there a motion to reconsider?
Available for which item? The alternative one?
No, the cost of living.
Above.
It's now so much time has passed, this will be a separate item, so while could be called a motion reconsider, I would just call this a separate item entirely.
What? Is it $60,000? Is that the
It's
true
about
figure?
57 to 60,000.
Yeah, for all department heads, it's about 52,500. The general fund portion of that is $39,389.
I would second that motion.
I think we need to wait and see how the budget's going to turn out before we start doing that. It's not that I disagree with what you said. I do think our department heads do an excellent job. However, our lowest paid department head is still over $100,000 a year. And, you know, we're talking about retention of our rank and file, and I think that was the reason that we did this to start with. And until we come up and find out exactly how much the budget's gonna be, how much we're gonna have to raise taxes if we are, then I think we need to hold off and see.
I heard you say 60,000, then you said something from another, how much was the other?
General fund's portion of the total amount is about a little over
Of
39,000.
the general fund,
Yes.
so we're talking about the, okay.
Well, if you want to save some money and you want to fight over that, then I say eliminate the pay plan and the reinstatement of merit program. And, I'll give up, if we take that away and make it across the board on 3%.
That makes sense to me.
Do what?
Eliminate
I heard that one.
the pay plan, the reinstate the merit program, and if you want to give everybody a 3% across the board, I can go along with that.
I disagree with that. I think that merit pay rewards people for on and above. Somebody that really goes out and does a great job is recognized and rewarded for it. So.
Well, yeah, well, you know, if you give them a merit increase, if they've done a good job, you know, that's something for employees to work for. I really hate to see that go. I would say this, to Larry, go through the budget and see if we can come up, or see if we can add or take away somewhere for really $39,000 is what, in 1 cent we're talking about.
It's the general fund that we're more worried about.
That's what I say, in reality, we're talking about 39,000. And I would say, let Larry look at it, work on it, and see what we can do, and if we can, you know, I don't have a problem. I think, and I've said time and time again, we got a good department head, anybody in North Carolina.
Mayor, are you saying for Larry to find $40,000 in next year's budget to reward the department heads?
That's what I'm saying.
I can find $40,000.
I'm saying, that's what I'm saying, I'm letting the rest of them do their own talk. If you can find it, let's talk about it and see what we can do. I think we've got good department heads too. I've always said that. Absolutely, I've always said that.
This is not a vote against or for the department heads.
Oh, no, absolutely not. No.
No, let me ask you, this $605,000 for every minimum pay plan. That's phase 1 of 2, and then it's possibly phase 3. What do we hope to gain from that? I mean, what answers are we looking for?
Well, that number is not to do the study. That's to implement the results of we hire a firm to analyze and evaluate the competitiveness of our positions, our salary ranges, and the folks in those salary ranges, those folks occupying a position, and benchmark that against our peers, our peer communities, and in our utility area, water, sewer, electric, gas, to look at regulated and non-regulated utilities. How competitive are our salaries, our salary ranges, and that's going to come up with a number of what it would take to migrate our salaries, our personnel and their salary levels to a more competitive level. That might not be for everybody, but some percentage of employees. That becomes a number, and the longer in time the city has delayed in going through that process, typically that number gets larger. I don't know what that number is. I took a stab. I was talking to staff. I said, if we can budget as a placeholder 2% of payroll, let's do that. I think the cost will be much more than that. Community I left 15 years ago, they did a similar study 15 years ago, and the cost was about $600,000 to implement it. So that's a community with 1/3 the number of employees that we have here. 15 years ago, it was that number. So I think that number is low. But it's a number to hit.
Playing devil's advocate, I think we already, whether it's perceived or not, believe that we're already underpaid, and that might underscore it. And we already know we don't have the funds to meet those salaries when it comes back and tells us that.
And we just gave them 3%, then you 3% more on merit, and then whatever they come up with saying, you know, you're going to be looking at a tremendous increase here. You know, it doesn't take a genius figure. You're talking about $2 million probably minimum. We don't have.
I'd say we could take out and implement the pay plan, I'm sorry, and, you know, cost of living, 3% for everybody.
back to what I first said, is the council can come in where they want to. And let Larry, we talk to about it next time, on, if he can come up with a $60,000, and, see what we can do, and bring it back to discussion next time. Council got anything on that?
We got a motion, so.
All right, what was the motion? Who made the motion?
I made the motion to do the cost of living across the board for everybody, just because I think it's fair to do it for everybody.
Well, are you taking out that $605,000?
I don't have a problem taking that out, but my motion was for the 3%
Yeah,
cost of
I
living
understand that.
for everybody.
Okay. Okay, we have a motion on the floor to have a second.
So we accept it.
All in favor? Any opposed?
No,
No, no. I still like to go back to, I still would like to go back to what I wanted to do, but that, I don't have a problem with that.
You know,
Do what?
again, I say I could vote for that without some of the other fluff, but, I'm not in a position to vote for anything for an increase till I see something come out.
Well,
Me
I think our manager could have found the money I was wanting to come back and talk to us about, but now we're all in another discussion now. So, okay, moving right along.
Is there,
He can still come back with it.
they have to come back with something, but is there, I'm not, I'm happy to schedule another workshop if y'all would like, but I would ask, is there consensus to include or exclude? Those items are in the proposed budget.
Right.
Is there guidance that you want one or more of those things taken out? Otherwise, that's an invitation to come back to you on another day, which I'm happy to do, but I would ask
On the
for.
workers' comp side, I guess, you know, look, we don't really have a choice, let's face it.
Why is that going up so much to $350,000?
Claims.
Like you said.
Claims. Claims.
Claim,
I think to me, to implement the pay plan, I know we need to do it, but 605 is quite a bit.
Well, and that's only phase one.
I know.
How much is phase two?
Yeah, we don't know what that
And
means.
so that could be a double
Phase
hit.
two could be another.
I know.
That's
I just
right.
don't think we're in a position right now to do that. I mean, to me, if the cost of living and the merit program, those are two that I think should stay, but the pay plan, I can see, I mean, that's quite a chunk of money.
may I make a motion that we approve the workers' compensation and the merit pay, of course, that cost of living increase.
are you leaving
Take
out?
out the
I'm
pay
leaving
plan.
out number two.
I second that. Are you saying do everything but the?
Number two.
Okay, I second that.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? All in favor? Any opposed? Hearing none.
That's almost 2 cents tax raise.
That's it, me.
So it's I'm sorry, remove the pay plan and the merit program.
No,
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 the merit
no,
program.
Just
they only got rid of implement.
just that
The pay
one.
plan. That's all it's going on.
Merit stays in there.
Thank you. And I think that, that's a roll-up. We have talked about all those, most of those are positions, the bottom four are the items we just finished talking about. Okay, next major section or component is capital vehicle purchases.
Mayor, what happens if you have a hot flash?
Sir?
If you having one, I can fix it.
It's hot in here. Is the air conditioning?
Just as a segue, we've grouped these items by department and fund. There's not a question, we move on to another section. As another overarching comment, vehicles, all the vehicles in this section are evaluated by the garage using criteria such as miles, age, service type, for example, whether it's public safety versus administrative use. If it's public safety, that suggests a more intense, greater use, so it's going to rate higher for replacement sooner. Also current condition, repair frequency, and total repair cost. And those are used to determine whether a vehicle should be surplus, rotated to reserve, or retained. In terms of power bill, 3 items for you all to look at. Asphalt truck, 2-ton flatbed, and 3/4 ton pickup.
I move,
Questions?
I move we go with that because I just need it and it's coming out of power.
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Was that power bill also,
That was paid with the streets.
Pay the street.
right? So I only get about 900,000, is that not correct? And you're taking out 300,000 of it here for equipment?
No, it's-
260.
For vehicles. Well, those are vehicles, those are vehicles, but maybe later on there's something for equipment, but we're right now.
Is,
Well,
now,
I'm talking about total spending on Powell bill for street.
How much do we get total,
Got
Jim?
somebody here?
Jim,
900.
900-something thousand, right?
Well, we used a little bit of reserve fund this year also.
you're
y'all pay
looking
for this?
at what kind of fund?
Reserve funds that.
Oh, okay.
One reason too is we've been doing a lot of our own paving.
Yeah, we've got to have the stuff to pay.
Well, that's what we pay by that power.
All right, I mean, we've been doing our own rather than subbing it out.
Yeah. Which saves
Yeah,
us
I
money.
get all that, but all I'm asking is that mean that we're reducing the
No,
money that
we're
we're
not
gonna
reducing
spend
anything.
on the streets to upgrade, repay, whatever, by 300,000?
No, we're keeping the same level.
Okay, that's all I have. Yeah, okay.
What happens, do we sell those, the stuff to be junky?
If we surplus it and it's not being rotated as a reserve, it's surplus and sold.
Is this gonna be sold or rotated in reserve?
No, it's gonna go to surplus.
Okay,
Be
so
sold.
you get some money back. Whatever that,
Yeah,
right?
whatever, someone values it.
So you get some
Somebody
money
gives us
back.
a dollar.
About $1.50 from
Oh, that's it right there.
Well, if you mind to pay more, we'd be all right.
They can buy them.
I have a motion and a second, all in favor? Any opposed? That passed.
The next section is basically involves public safety. We've got police, fire, and 3 sets of fire apparatus. In terms of police, we've had a rotation schedule of about 10 to 14 vehicles per year. As you all can relate, I think that those vehicles, the sedans, it's hard city use, stop and go. I believe all of those squad cars are 2008 models. I could go on, but are there other questions about fire apparatus?
That SUV, that's 60,000 from unassigned fund balance. Is it one of the white ones they're replacing, the old ones?
It's 2003, I believe. Is it for a battalion chief,
Yeah.
or is it?
Is that correct, Chief?
Fire marshal.
It's the fire marshal.
Fire marshal.
Fire marshal.
Is that 2003?
2003 is my understanding.
Yes, sir. It's actually a vehicle that we got from the police department. We moved it in our, so it's on its second life now. I think it ranked like the highest in the city by the placement on the,
So you
on
can't
the
get a
garage
bird like
scale.
I
that,
think the
right?
police are getting ready to get rid of some more vehicles too.
Uh-oh.
All right, so I make the motion to approve this, please.
Second,
I have a motion and a second, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay, that's approved.
Okay, thank you. This has to do with building standards and parks and maintenance. Basically, there's 4 vehicles there. Building standards is looking to replace a 2000 vintage truck. And Parks and Rec, 3 vehicles, I believe 2 are utility trucks, 2000 vintage, and the other is Ford Ranger 2001. Are there other questions?
Nothing you need to make note of is coming from fund balance.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay.
And I'm sorry, this is the laundry list. This is just a synopsis slide, shows those that we just dealt with. There are no questions on vehicle purchases. Move to equipment. And first is public safety. And there's a long list here of some servers, radios, thermal cameras, exhaust equipment or plumb event, I believe is what it's called, an all-terrain vehicle. Are there questions on public safety items?
I do have a question. Do you have a running tally of how much is coming out of fund balance, the unassigned?
I do.
Okay.
When will we get that? At the end of the total?
Yeah, there's a backup slide that we can go to if you.
Well, there's a lot of things that are saying unassigned fund
No,
balance.
when we get to the bottom, we'll know.
Yeah,
I'd
we all
like
want
see
to go
the
to that
total
now, or
before we keep saying,
we'll
okay,
wrap
let's
up?
approve it, go on.
Yeah, I wanna
Whenever
see
you
how
want to
much
go there.
Yeah, I want to see how much is coming out of unassigned fund balance. And I know we have money in there, but still.
Must have a lot of money in there.
So I'm gonna make a motion to approve that. I think we need that.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Question or comment? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
You
Okay.
got that slide that shows the total amount?
Yeah, I still want to see that.
Yeah, I want to see the slide.
All right,
I
this.
mean, I know we need this stuff, but I still want to see it.
Yes, ma'am. This is, I'm sorry, Parks and Maintenance and Golf Course. Yeah, point of clarification, I think we're showing that as 2 mowers for Parks and Maintenance, but I believe that's actually a mower and an infield groomer.
It's one mower at 15,000, and in the golf course, that's a rough mower that we need to replace because
But Joe, also, I think I funded the infield groomer, which I think maybe confuses a mower. They're both $15,000.
I'm not.
I think that's why we got, I'm confident that's why we're showing 30,000.
I don't know about it. I went back to the decision package.
But we can't mow the grass, we don't have something to mow it with, so I move to approve.
So one of those was infield room.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure I took that as a mower, sorry.
I have a motion.
Second.
I have a motion, a second. Any discussion or question? That's on the proposed budget for the golf course.
Golf course is really looking awfully good for municipal.
I've had a lot of compliments on that.
Sure does.
I get a lot of compliments. Okay, all in favor? Any opposed?
Maybe we can jack the fees up since it's looking so good, maybe. Maybe to break even, what do you think?
We're gonna get there.
We are.
Right.
All right.
Okay,
That was, I didn't hear the vote, but I guess.
yeah, it's just that pack.
This is IT, and
First one's a lot of money, too.
this probably deserves a lot of clarification. I'll try to at a high level hit on it and then defer to Bruce, but
Can we do one thing there? Can we see that, how
Unassigned.
much money we got in unassigned fund balance, how much we're spending?
How much we spending?
So we have a clue what we're doing, because a lot of it's coming out of unassigned fund balance.
There's a bunch of it. Is it close to $4 million? How much is it?
At the end of the year, we're anticipating about 6.9 million in unassigned fund balance, and we've budgeted to use about 2.3 million in one-time expenses. That's a lot of the items that you're seeing here. Of course, we'll be saving another about 400,000 on that pay plan study that with the implementation that was just removed, about 400 of that is general fund. 600 is
Okay.
the total, 400 is general fund, so add another 400 to that.
Had we not lost all that revenue, we wouldn't be dipping into this unassigned stuff. Is that correct?
We dip it a little bit.
I'm sorry.
affirmative.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you may be a little bit, but I
I think
don't
probably
know if we'd have to get any out of that, because see, we lost right at $1 million at one clip on, business license.
While we're here, another point that Lisa would love to share with you is that she's, in consultation with me, she's forecasted conservatively a number of our revenue lines, which I think are, let's see, what slide is that?
Right there.
Conservative. So we've left some money on the table, so to speak, in the sales tax area, and there's three lines there, there's sales tax. The league produces a forecast. We backed off of that forecast and didn't go literally with those numbers. There are a number of reasons there. There's some stuff going on in the General Assembly that may give you pause. The economy may slow, and so on. So Lisa advised, let's be conservative.
But this is based on being revenue neutral, which would be a
Yes.
3.5 cent tax increase,
Tax
correct?
increase, yes, yes.
Adjustment, okay, adjustment.
Well,
Yeah.
what we cut,
Adjustment.
what we,
That's a man.
Yes, I say adjustment.
Sir?
what we cutting out here and saving, is that not helping us any on the tax rate? That's what I'm thinking. You know, we've cut out $500,000 or $600,000 here.
That's a decision that y'all.
Or I thought we had we not?
You cut a big chunk of
We
it.
cut 60 one way.
About 400,000, well, yeah.
Well, all that's not
About
general
500.
fund now. That's-
Sir?
that-
Yeah,
The number that was on screen
salaries
was
and
all
the
funds.
play plan.
General fund was was a subsection of that.
Okay, but we don't make the adjustment to revenue neutral any of the sales tax and stuff, that will hurt us, will it not?
Yes,
Our
going
revenue.
forward, we'll lose a
Yeah.
share of
Because didn't we do that in the
both.
past when we did not stay revenue neutral, we didn't adjust?
Mhm.
Phrasing my words, we didn't adjust. Did we not lose some on the sales tax part?
We did. We lose a little piece of our pie, I guess, if you will, that's distributed within Union County. And not only does that affect the sales tax now, it also affects that utility sales tax, because that revenue distribution, as they've changed it,
It's based
is
on-
also based on ad valorem.
Okay.
Well, apparently Lisa's expecting an economic upturn because she has tripling her building permit.
Yep.
Well, also there's, well, we're gonna touch on a little bit later.
Congratulations, Lisa.
Well, there's-
I'll address my buddy with you.
Well, that could be one additional, one big building.
There's a fee change, and I think the 16 is reflective of the fee change.
Go
Okay,
with
good
the Jack
deal.
and Pete.
Raise the price, baby. That's a good way to get them up there. Okay.
It says nominal increase.
Yes, it's very nominal.
All right, moving right along.
Get back.
So it was
IT,
it was
move.
2.3 million from unassigned fund balance, 2.329 something other.
Yes.
And the fund balance, if I saw that correctly, but it is, so between June 30th of 15 and June 30th of 16, it's about $2 million
Mm-hmm, 2.3 million,
drop.
right.
Well, what we were, the slide we were looking at is towards the end of the packet we gave you, I think it was slide 35.
What's the 25% threshold? What's the total in fund balance? 25%.
Which
Which
is
is our policy.
25%, I got Pat with me. I think it's above, I think it was 7.5 million,
Okay.
or a percentage of the budget, so it's a little bit above 7.5 million right now. And this unassigned is way above and beyond that.
Okay, I'll just double check.
Okay, this highlights additions that are information technology focused, but actually that IT supports all the departments. So it looks like it's Bruce's department, but it's really everybody. And if he goes south, we all go south. The SQL, Bruce, you're gonna have to help me out, but it's my understanding it's a server. It's from the failure.
Well,
It supports Microsoft.
It's time to replace that server. That server runs all the non-HTE databases. So the Laserfish, all our document storage has to go through that server. So without it, we might as well shut down the server, shut down the city. The remote access refresh, that we currently have that, but it's going out of support because it's gotten so old, and we have to have a certain level of one to meet FBI credentials for police department, and that's what we use for employees to access the city network from out in the field and from just outside the city network. The time and attendance system is something new that we're looking at. Currently, all our time sheets are done on paper, and this system would make it electronic system to where employees would clock in via either maybe a smartphone or their PC or the computerized time clock at their place of attendance. Additional storage, we have to replace hard drives. Hard drives wear out in our storage systems where we store city data, so we just have to periodically replace those units. In current fire suppression for the data center, we currently have no fire protection other than getting Station 1 Fire Department into this data center.
And that's probably
And that's dangerous because they might mistakenly use water to put something out and be in real trouble. This system would be a type of fire suppression that's safe for electronics.
I move to accept proposed budget for
You make a motion.
I second it.
I have a motion and a second to approve it. All in favor? Any opposed? Hearing none, that's taken. Approved.
And this is a roll-up of items we just.
I'd like to applaud the IT department before we move on. It might be one of one of the few departments here that I see that is actually still below a 2014 level. Even though we're going to this new time system, we're not adding any new employees, so I'm happy for
Okay,
This section is facilities and community improvements. Again, it's grouped by department and fund. The first concerns engineering. There was some questions, I think, earlier about the streets or sidewalks. This highlights basically a couple areas there: new sidewalks and maintenance of existing ones. 4 parking lots. Sidebar or side note that excludes the Church Street lot at the depot, and then our annual street resurfacing projects.
What did we do to the Coral Street parking lot a couple of years ago? Did we not pave that in? The parking lot out here?
No, we did not, we did some
Okay.
sealing.
is the Powell bill not paying any of this?
It's for streets.
Huh?
I think we used it for streets.
These are mostly city facilities. I don't
Yeah.
think we can use the power bill on those.
Well, we used to use it on sidewalks and stuff. We have used it for sidewalks. Or I was told that, I don't know that we did, but I was told you could use it for sidewalks.
Well, we've got good many streets, that I'm
This-
sure that's eating that up.
This 200,000 is an addition to what we currently use for power bill. So it's additional money from the general fund.
Yes, we've got so much.
So you're actually gonna spend more than 200,000 then on sidewalk, is that correct?
Yes, we have
We have a lot of disrepair.
36,000 power bill for sidewalk maintenance.
Okay, so we got 200,000 from the fund balance, and you're gonna spend how much out of the power bill?
So we have $60,000 for materials and power bill.
Okay.
Other questions?
I'll make a motion for him to approve this. Second.
I have a motion second, any questions, comments?
What are we approving, this whole list here?
Yeah,
When
sidewalk,
Is that right?
resurfacing.
20, yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I have a motion and a second. Any questions, comments? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, that passed.
And all of this is included in that 2.3 million.
Yes.
This concerns fire. Two important items. One is improvements to the fire training center, replacing a gate.
21.
And the other is adding an emergency signal at Fire Station 5. Are there questions?
Yeah, what kind of gate costs $60,000?
That's what I'm wondering.
Basically,
secure one, I hope.
Well, it better have cameras and everything else.
basically it goes from what's essentially a manual to an electronic gate that has auto open and close, and adds the key card access like we use here at City Hall. There's a challenge under the current configuration. There's a dozen padlocks out there, and none of them are used regularly, and so it stays open too frequently, invites strays to come in, and so the idea is to add what amounts to an electronic gate, probably something close to what you see at the mini storage.
It's actually pretty close to an airport type gate. It'll give us the ability to allow certain people that are going to use the facility access, and then deny them access on the basis of technology rather than keys. Essentially, right now, all we have is cattle gate blocks on it. If any of the county people come in to use the fire training ground, or any other police departments using the shooting range, chief officer indicated, those people need access, and we need to give them access and then limit them access after they've used it.
I was just gonna say, it benefits more than it is basically the fire training center. It's that main access that you access, yes, the fire training center, also the engineering yard, there's stockpile yard there, and also the gun range. So after hours, it'd be essentially the same kind of gate that's down at the operations center, hard access, electronic gate.
So that's one gate, though.
Just out of curiosity, what would a life or something like that be? Possible. Ballpark.
I'm just guessing, I don't know what he thinks.
What was the question?
What would the life expectancy of something like that be? I'm just curious. Sounds like a lot, but if it's gonna be spread out over 10 or 20 years, maybe it's not that big a deal.
I can't answer that. I know the ones down at the operations center have been there for years, and
They periodic, every probably 10 years, they may have to replace parts of the gate mechanism, but they don't have to do the whole thing again.
Okay.
Because this includes the ground
We're
loops,
just getting up to date.
controllers and everything, so.
Okay,
Is there consensus to support this?
have a motion?
Oh, we got to the traffic signal for 50,000?
No, we haven't.
the traffic signal will be up at Fire Station 5. There'll be an emergency signal there on Highway 601, whereas when fire apparatus are coming out under that highway, they hit the button, the signal will go to red to stop the traffic. To make it safer coming and going. One thing we anticipate is that the improvements start on Highway 601 for the bypass. There's going to be more traffic there. It's going to go from 2 lane to 4 lane there in front of the fire station. Just,
You got that down on 74?
no, sir, we do not have one.
Did you not have it at one time?
No, sir. We looked at that at one time. We explored that with the Department of Transportation, and that was actually a different system because it was going in on 74 on an existing light. This would be an additional, just emergency light that would be there on 601, be, flashing.
I come out there a lot, and it's hard to get out.
I was just thinking we used to have it down on 74, okay. That's
I
all.
move we approve both of those.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Have a motion, second, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay.
All right, it's a long list, I apologize, it involves primarily recreation, different divisions within recreation. The top item is continuing a multi-year support of Greenway master plan and funding it for reserve. Items roughly 2 through 5 are investment in our park facilities, Belconwana, Don Griffin, Sunset, and then improving the roof at the apartment.
I move,
Wait a minute.
I move that, I know 2 I've had on my list that we don't have to do. That's Belton and J.C. Park.
I have a question, what is comprehensive renovation mean? What does
Okay,
that include?
What that would include would be, a new parking lot near the shelter, restriping the existing, new bollards around the parking, a total restroom renovation, landscaping and signage, new picnic tables, trash receptacles, security cameras, benches, grills, and just update the appearance of the shelter, similar to what we see at the new one at Don Griffin.
Would it do anything for that stage, that,
No, that's not included in here. The amphitheater would not be included.
why wouldn't that include?
We're just trying to keep costs down. The most used is that facility.
Yeah.
That was the most important to us, so if that's.
My motion would be that we scratch Belton and J.C. Park. That's $370,000 that we can do without spending. And I spent a lot of time on J.C. Park. There's nothing wrong with that.
Nobody probably uses it, but Belton Water is used a lot, and I see more and more people use it.
Yeah, it's still a nice park. And I'll make my motion. We scratch these 2 for this year.
All right, can I ask about,
Well, any of this stuff really could be, if we say no to something, that doesn't mean we'll never come back to it. It doesn't mean it couldn't be done at some point in time, but.
well, is that the ball field lights, is that the
70.
just for the
100,
lights system, is that what it?
That's,
Belton really needs to
some
be-
of this is to totally redo those lights and add them to our computerized system so that they could be controlled from the computer.
It's a switch there.
Yeah, now they have the way they put it up there so they can come
Well, if
along.
it-
Yeah, now we need to
They
send
work
out a
like they do it
staff
now, but they
person.
don't work.
They don't, the other ones they turn it on by just by hand.
At least out
Well,
of got
I thought
370.
somebody told me otherwise.
And I think with Belton Wanda, is that not because we're getting so many requests for rentals for that, to upgrade the?
Well, it's rented a lot during the summer. It's totally, rent. That's our highest
Is those lights at William Park on that computerized thing, or they turned on by hand?
Not by hand.
By hand.
I've been told the other way now.
7777, believe me, I know what about football over there.
I'm not sure, Mayor, I'll have to check on that.
Well, that's okay, I just,
It's by hand.
I hate to tell you something.
I know, that's okay.
Okay,
All right, okay, that's good.
Yeah, I may fail, but I make a motion, we don't.
Let's do one at a time here. Okay, we passed the Greenway, have we talked about the Greenway? We didn't jump down the thing, did we?
Well,
Well, you're pretty well hung on that Greenway thing, I think.
Well, I know
We
that.
need that. I mean,
Okay, we had built
We did a
Tonawanda.
resolution for
Right.
that a
That
couple
really
years
needs to
ago.
be
This
done.
is
It's
year
more
3 of
important.
6.
good.
Brian, what else does this entail, the Greenway, I mean, the, Tonawanda Comprehensive? It's redoing the building and all
Everything
that.
but that.
new parking lot at the shelter, restripe existing, new bollards around existing, total restroom renovation, entry landscaping, new signage, new picnic tables, trash receptacles, adding security cameras, benches and grills, add a stone veneer to update and enhance shelter appearance.
I think
I
we need to
move
do
we,
this.
I still got a motion in there that we don't do Belt Tonawanda. Somewhere we gotta quit spending fund balance.
Well, with all this, it's 2.3 million, is what they showed us. All of this.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor.
Yeah, well, just for clarification, the parking lot at the shelter, or where is that?
There is none, we would add one there.
Okay.
The bathrooms are horrible over there.
Okay, I have a motion. Did you make the motion, sir? And what is your motion again, please?
That we postpone doing anything about Tonawanda during this fiscal year.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
I thought that included the ball field lights.
No, that's a
We
second.
wanna do one at a time.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Okay, I don't have a second, so it dies for lack of a second.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we do the Belt Tonawanda Comprehensive renovation, because we really need it.
I have a motion
I
on,
second.
I have a motion and I have a second. All in favor to do it?
Uh,
Any opposed?
Yeah.
Me,
Okay.
oh, I'm sorry,
That passed.
I'm sorry.
What, somebody said?
So we're just gonna go on down through these individually then?
Well, that's what we,
Yeah.
yeah. Since they pulled them out, we're going to debate them.
I move that we delay that $170,000 for.
Make a motion. Make a motion.
Mayor, for clarity's sake, are you going through the items one at a time because you hit item 2 but not 1? And so there was no vote then?
Okay, well, the only reason I started on item 1 is that there was a couple pulled out real fast. All right, let's go back to the Greenway on number 1. That's Greenway Capital Reserve Fund, park maintenance.
Well, I'll make a motion to go ahead and do the Greenway, the fence, the roof, and the HVAC units.
Okay, so that leaves out those 2 then.
It leaves out the lights, because we already did Belt Tonawanda.
Okay,
All right, well, but before we go there, because we've not gone down,
Okay.
just for a little brief, we're sort of hooked on that Greenway Capital Reserve Fund from a
Resolution that was adopted a
resolution
couple
that
years
was
ago.
adopted by council, and we're in bed with the government on that, or the feds on that. So,
So we're hooked on that
so
one.
we're pretty well hooked on
all
that.
right, that puts us down to
Don Griffin.
replace,
There's a consensus for the Greenway.
no, Donnie,
Well, I made the motion to include the Greenway,
Yeah,
Sunset Park, the roof, at Parks Maintenance, and the AC units. So I made a motion to do those.
I have a motion on that. Do I have a second?
I did the Greenway, I just left out, because we've got Belt Tonawanda, I left out the ball field lights, and everything else I made included in my motion.
Okay, second.
I have a motion and a second. That's on all of them with the exception of the ball field lights, and we'll come back to that one. I have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? All in favor? Any opposed? All right, that's passed. Now we
Oh,
go back
wait,
to,
I'm sorry, that one, yeah, the nays, we had 1 nay, and then were there 2 other nays? Because I think we heard the ayes were Anthony, Nash, and Kilgore, would that be correct?
yeah.
And then the nay was Gordon,
On which one?
Arkeziah,
On
and
this here,
Duncan, noes,
replacing the
or
fence at
yeas.
Sunset Park and so forth.
And it
I
may be
voted to do everything, but she said you would leave it
Right,
off the
that's
Well,
what
bottom.
I
that's what I
His was a
said,
yes.
we left off the part.
Yeah, well, I just had a few questions about, the last three, frankly.
Right.
And especially the bottom two.
Okay.
So, in the facility maintenance, replacing the roof at a parks maintenance facility.
The house is all the equipment.
Freddie, those are the two buildings, the brick buildings. Those roofs have been in bad shape for years.
So you feel like it's a capital
Just-
improvement that's been postponed?
Yes.
Okay.
So it needs to be done, there, water's getting in the buildings. I mean, it's something that's just been overlooked or deferred
And I'm sure
or
we've
not
got a lot of stuff in
addressed.
there that doesn't need to get wet.
That's actually five,
Well, we've
before you
cleaned
talk
them
about
out.
it.
What's
You're
that?
talking about the five point?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Five
yeah,
points.
okay.
And then the HVAC units, that was, you know, we have a lot of aging units that need replacing, and I think Greg implemented a plan to address those with this 100,000 for several years.
Yeah, basically
This would be continuing that.
Yeah.
three-year commitment, approximately 100,000 a year.
Okay.
All right.
That's all I had, question.
All right, now,
So the only one that's not addressed is Don Griffith Park.
Non-written.
Well,
but
I'll go along with that.
according to our attorney there, we didn't get the count right, is that what you were saying,
Well,
sir?
actually, it passed. The only question is who were the nays? And
Well,
we at least had 4 ayes, and we had Councilmember Gordon as a no. Councilmember Duncan, the clerk and I were not sure what your vote was.
Lynn, you vote for it, did you?
For what,
For
for the whole
which?
thing?
For
or
every-
just-
Everything
For
except
1,
mine.
4,
I didn't
5.
vote
You-
for the town of one apartment. I voted against that.
I know that, we passed that.
All
Talking
right, I
about-
voted for the last three.
All right, that's right, well, that's what I
So the
thought.
Councilmember
green- the green
Keziah
one
is a
wins.
yes.
He voted
I
for that.
voted for that.
Yeah.
That one was
We
4.
got one thing left.
Okay, so all we're eliminating here
No,
is,
Gordon and Duncan.
Lots.
Right.
Now, we haven't done that yet.
oh, we have,
We're coming to that.
oh, okay, excuse me.
That's why we-
Dottie said that.
Ms. Dash
My
made a-
motion was leaving it out.
She made a motion for all of it, we accept that. Now we're coming back to replace the ball field lights at Don Griffith. Do I have a motion?
I move that we do not replace the ball field lights at Don Griffith.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion to second. Any discussion, any comment? Hearing none.
Wait a
All in
minute,
favor?
Wait a minute, we're saying we don't use that? Is that what you're
We
saying?
use the
Not
ball
spending
field.
Lights
It's
work.
on by switch now, they want to make it electronic.
But they work.
Yeah,
Okay.
They did work, right, Brian? Or halfway?
They worked real
They
well.
work,
Okay.
but they're old.
They want to put it on the computer.
Well, we're just trying to,
Okay.
Yeah, I know, I'm good, I'm
all
good.
right.
All right, any other comments? Hearing none, all in favor? Any opposed? Hearing none, so that, they won't replace the ball field lights.
I'm sorry, that was to take it out?
Take it out.
Take it out.
Take it
out.
Only thing on that
That's
thing.
You voted
I voted for the elimination of the replacement of the ball field lights at Don.
That one appeared to be a 6 vote,
Yeah, right.
Okay.
unless
Yeah, go
anyone,
for it, slow.
I would say that was 6-0.
Okay, all right. Super, all right.
I don't think anyone voted no.
All right.
Finish these.
Continuing on, the next group is
Finish these.
The 23rd.
continuing on, basically, golf course, downtown elements in the airport.
You want to do these two?
Well, actually, one, this one, for this. So
This would be the last item of this group, basically, it's done.
Okay.
Golf course, upgrading the irrigation system basically eliminates the manual operation that is currently going on. In terms of downtown Monroe, installation of 3 decorative crosswalks, also reconfiguring the curb radius for easier truck movements along Jefferson and Church, Franklin and Church, Windsor and Stewart. And the other item is adding sidewalks on the west side of Haynes Street to Monroe Street.
does this take us down to the,
The sidewalk tomorrow completes
that side?
that side tomorrow, and that's where I think the radius, it's a little bit correct,
Yeah,
correction,
okay.
rather than the crosswalks.
Yeah, I was just trying to make sure in my head where it was at.
Okay.
Well, of course, the only thing I have a question about here is we're only refurbishing
For
a fuel
250.
tank for $250,000. Now, I'm not opposed to the airport. all I'm asking is, that seems like a lot of money to just refurbish something.
Yeah.
The initial estimate was 600,000, which I think was to wholesale replacement. Now, was it underground for 600?
Yes, sir.
And the 250 is to refurbish and above ground.
Above ground, and actually it would basically gut it all out, all the parts inside the pump, the float thing that controls the fuel flowage. And that's the high-end number. It could be possibly less. But I wanted to give the most ample number that was out there. And that tank that we're doing is over 30 years old. It's never been refurbished. It's only been maintained. And so in order to keep up with the demand of jet fuel out there, as we have the increased traffic of jet traffic, we want to convert, it's an older Jet A tank. We want to convert it to meet more newer standards, the environmental standards.
I believe you said it's starting to show corrosion, which
Yes,
poses
sir.
an environmental
On the outside a little
hazard.
bit, yeah. We painted it and kind of superficially taken care of it, but we need to do a gutting out of the whole.
Other questions, or is there consensus to
And
this?
that's sort of a, and I'm not trying to be a pain in the England here, but, a refurbish like that, it's a 30-year-old tank. How much longer can I get out of that tank?
Well, we're
We
gonna have
do
an
this.
initial inspection with that,
If we do.
and depending on what that investment will be, it will last us at least another 20 years.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Any other discussion on anything on this page? If not, do I hear a motion?
Motion, oh, yeah, motion to approve.
I have a motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion, comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that will pass.
That's the list of what we just went through?
Okay.
All right.
Lisa is duly making notes of the items we're eliminating
Yes.
from start to finish here. Because we're up over that one number, you know, I'm proud of it so far. Okay. All right.
These are the items that were not funded. And this is, in broad strokes, there's maybe some minor items that aren't on this list, but this is the big items. Most of them, if not all of them, are important, but I couldn't find money at the time to support them. Exception would be the assistant fire marshal. An earlier decision today, that position comes off the not funded to funded. But I think everything else remains unchanged. No questions?
We reckon it?
Almost, sir.
And it's not this big a deal, it's probably been discussed at the hangar, at the committee level. On that airport hangar construction and the money appropriated for that, let me just clarify. We built those before, we lease them, and they're all leased. So you do get a return on this investment, or more or less it pays for itself. Is that not correct?
Yes, the model, per the model that we designed, yes, sir, that's the intent.
Well, the items there on the bottom are basically, I think it goes back about 3 or 4 months. The city council supported buildings, or going forward with the design or expanding the infrastructure that would, we haven't gotten bids yet on the infrastructure.
No, sir.
If we built the infrastructure, it would support constructing one or both of those hangars. But part of the idea is, I think one of the hangars would be a city hangar, and the other would be a corporate hangar that would be built by someone else.
By the leasee, the person that would come in and lease the property, and they would build the investment.
Yeah, and those things, you know, in my mind, it's a big difference in something that you can charge a fee for and get, and the money's paid back, you know, that's a little bit different than a capital project like a police station that we're never going to charge for their services and get back to that thing. That's the only reason I raised that question. We got no need of it.
All right, if I could take 3 minutes.
Yeah, you got
What I'll skip over is this, we can come back to it, but I'd like to punctuate what's coming up. Is the council interested in referring the calling for a public hearing? It's on the agenda tonight. And in lieu of calling for the public hearing for the 19th, we schedule another work session to wrap up the conversation.
On the 5th. And then call-
Today's the fifth.
Oh, today's the 5th, I'm
Do
sorry.
you want to do it for your third Tuesday, the 19th, work session?
Yeah, I'd like to
Yeah.
do it on the third Tuesday.
I need
Now-
to make a motion that we will delay the call for the public hearing till, we'll call for it on the 19th, and we'll also do the discussion of the budget.
Do we need to come at
A
3?
workshop on the 19th.
We need to come at 3 instead of 4, so we'll have time. The last 2 times, we run out of time. Last time, we went right up to meeting time.
We had a,
Your prerogative.
we had a normal work-
What's the council?
We got through a bulk of it today.
I'm sorry?
We got through a bulk of it today, so. I
Can we
think-
do it the other in 2 hours easily?
I think so. I think we have fee schedule discussion left and
Okay.
then any other questions that y'all might have.
We'll do it at 4 o'clock.
I made
Mayor
a
Pro-
motion, we need a second.
Mayor Pro Tem, your motion needs to include, it wasn't clear, that you're also calling for a special meeting at,
Okay,
on
yes,
the
that's
19th.
what- whatever my motion is to be.
Is that a special meeting, or is that a special meeting?
4 o'clock.
Yes, special meeting.
Okay.
On the 19th.
That's regular schedule.
All right. All right.
That's where we're cutting it off today, we're not going into, fees.
I have a motion, second, all in favor for the special meeting on the 19th.
Has there been a second?
And also, delay the,
Okay.
delay the call for the public hearing, that was in my motion.
I have a motion to delay the public hearing and call for a special meeting on the 19th, the continuation of the budget. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Now we got
Okay,
it.
so we got it clear.
Okay. Now I have a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
I have a motion to adjourn, I have a second. All in favor? All right.